over 2 million lives have been saved because of mRNA technology.
Secretary Kennedy made an announcement that the U.S. is halting $500 million for vaccine research.
It helps us develop vaccines and new treatments for everything from cancer, melanoma, which my wife has, to HIV.
I want to hop into a Face the Nation interview with a former Trump Surgeon General sounding off on the dangers of Trump and RFK in their attack on public health. So leave us a like on the video if you can. It helps us out a ton. It gets us out there to more viewers. And let's get right into the content.
Secretary Kennedy made an announcement that the U.S. is halting $500 million for vaccine research into that technology known as mRNA. You're very familiar with it because it was used during Operation Warp Speed to very quickly get that COVID vaccine. Secretary Kennedy said, though, mRNA vaccines, quote, don't work against upper respiratory infections. Do you know what he means? And what does stopping this research do for pandemic preparations?
Well, that's simply not true. We know that by the most conservative estimates, over 2 million lives have been saved because of mRNA technology. It helped us develop COVID-19 vaccines in record time. And it's quite frankly, President Trump's greatest achievement. It's fascinating to me that in this conversation about whether he should receive the Nobel Prize for something, the thing that he should be considered for the Nobel Prize for, his health secretary is trying to undermine.
I get the point he's trying to make here, but Trump publicly downplayed COVID until the very last second. He did approve Operation Warp Speed, which is undoubtedly a good thing, the only good thing he did in his first term, but it's something literally any president would have done. So he gets no credit for that. Not a single president says no to that in the history or in the future of this country. And Trump then went on to do more damage to what Operation Warp Speed represented than maybe anybody else. Like the way he's downplayed the legitimacy of the COVID vaccine is insane for the platform he has. The rest that he said is spot on though, right? While using a synthetic form, mRNA is something we all have in us, which is why we're able to modify it to help with viruses quicker, as you're essentially teaching your body rather than introducing it to the virus. It also makes it safer for the immunocompromised. It's a wonderful technology and it's something we should be building off of and continuing research on because it's massively beneficial. But, you know, it's related to COVID, so MAGA hates it because science is a bad thing to them. You know, science and facts and math and all of this has a liberal bias, of course.
This idea, again, helps us develop vaccines and new treatments for everything from cancer, melanoma, which my wife has, to HIV, to better flu vaccines and Zika. These are advances that are not going to happen now. People are going to die because we're cutting short funding for this technology.
I think this is a perfect example to make the point on why conspiracy theories are so harmful, even if at face value it seems harmless to believe in this one, right? And why we should reject clowns who do believe in them or who have a tendency to fall for them. Because to think the COVID vaccine is anything but as safe and as effective as any other vaccine, which is far more safe than any more mundane medicine like Tylenol you might take, is simply anti-science. These people, because of conspiracy brain rot, believe this. Because mRNA is what the COVID vaccine is, they then associate the two as one, even though they're not, which makes them then want to get out mRNA, which leads to situations like we're seeing now, where an amazing technology is now being defunded because of one thing it does, leaving out all of the other massive benefits to try. You see this with like Planned Parenthood, right? They, as less than 3% of their procedures, do abortions, so Republicans are defunding them, even though 97% of their procedures are related to like breast cancer screening, STD prevention, contraceptives. I mean, again, like, remember when Trump and MAGA touted a kid with cancer, with brain cancer, for political gain? Now he's literally defunding one of the leading possibilities for future treatments. You have to love how Trump is truly making America healthy again.
I wrote a recent op-ed that is in Stat News where I talked about this. As leaders, we have to be responsible with what we're saying and how we're saying it. We have to understand people are listening. And when you call the CDC a cesspool, when you say, I will hold people responsible, when you make claims that have been proven false time and time again about safety and efficacy of vaccines, that can cause unintended consequences. And so while I don't know Secretary Kennedy personally, and I don't want to make assertions about his character, I will say based on his actions and his rhetoric, he is he's fanning the flames that lead to situations like we saw at the CDC.
It's hilariously hypocritical, like on its face, because the right tried their hardest to pin the Tesla attacks on Democrats, the healthcare CEO shooting on Democrats, the Trump shooting on Democrats. They pretend we'll all forget as easily as they change with the wind, but we don't. It's all because, you know, rhetoric matters. Remember, Democrat rhetoric, they're the ones dividing this country. Like, you remember all those talking points. Now, though, none of them have anything to say. Like, and this is really, really damning. None of them have anything to say unless you hold their feet to the fire and then they'll just both sides it. None of them have anything to say about this CDC shooting after their disgusting rhetoric and months of it about big pharma and all of this and anti-vaccine and everything. Because again, these people have no real principles. They don't have an ethical standard that they will actually hold if it makes their side looks bad. And they just want to further their profit agenda. And they're willing to do so at any cost, especially public health, which is why we're seeing it be attacked in so many ways right now, from research to healthcare to these actual institutions. I just hope that it's at a place in 4 years where it's able to be fixed, or Trump will have permanently destroyed this country.